This is AV SuperFriends On Topic, a 30-minute monthly roundtable focused on a single topic. This discussion will be opinionated, to the point, and saturated with our well-known blend of painfully won expertise and deeply ingrained immaturity. Stop waving at me. For July 2023, it's the AV SuperFriends On Topic. Welcome back, everybody. In time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. Again, recorded on Tuesday evening.
In our Infocom studio.
In the studio. We are in studio.
AVSF Studios.
You are live in studio with the AV SuperFriends in our Infocom studio. We paid a dear price for this studio space.
This is actually a really nice studio.
It is
really
nice.
is.
Actually, it's not bad.
There's no parallel walls. There's lots of sound.
The acoustics are really nice.
If we can just get the door guy to get together, we'd be fine.
Yeah, our security is kind of a shit show right now, but otherwise it's great.
Anyway, but welcome in.
We're here at Infocom again. This is this is going to be our only Infocom on topic show. We're doing a lot of other stuff at Infocom, but this is the only one that's on topic. Even though you're not hearing this until July, so we were at Infocom 3 weeks ago.
It was amazing.
I hope the rest of you were there.
We had a studio and everything.
So this month's topic is showcase spaces. So think
like
about your
the game show.
Yes, that's the Showcase Showdown.
Oh, my bad.
Which
It's different.
Yeah, we would play the theme here, but we'd get sued into oblivion. But so it's one of those things when I think we all have the opportunity when I would say periodically, not regularly, but periodically,
enough
that someone will say, we're doing a new building, we're doing a new thing, we're doing renovation, whatever, we're remodeling our space, and we want to showcase space. Mm-hmm. And that always makes me think immediately of higher budget. Well, let me rephrase. Hopefully a higher budget. And usually some unreasonable expectations. So where do you guys want to start with this? I mean, how do we handle these requests for the showcase spaces? Usually there's a theme. Usually there's like some sort of vision, or they've seen something somewhere. They were at somebody else's school. They were at a conference. They read a case study, something. But there's rarely much more beyond that.
To start off, what's your initial reaction when somebody comes to you and says, I want to do a showcase piece? I'll tell you mine's like, no, I don't want to do a showcase piece.
I'm fine with that because I want to try to figure out what they're exactly talking about. So I back up the needs analysis a little bit when that happens. Like, describe to me what you envision about the entire space. Explain your floors, ceilings, walls. What is it looking like? Your furniture.
It has all of that. It has floors and ceilings and walls.
Yeah, but they're backwards.
But let me describe what you envision here.
All glass.
And then we go through, because I want to see what their perception of high end really is. And if they start describing standard stuff, I'll just let that conversation go and act like it's a high-end room. We'll just put in a standard. We'll just put in a standard classroom.
This is going to be a perfect spot for a projector.
It's all new. It's the showcase space. They're like, it's a standard classroom projector.
They usually fall into two categories for me. It's one of the, I saw this at insert Harvard, Arizona State /
a conference. I went to a conference and saw this.
I saw this thing in a trade show. The first one of these I got was you remember the Decision Theater thing at Arizona State? Mm-hmm. And I was approached and says, "We want to do this."
Wasn't that called the War Room?
You can't use that term anymore.
No,
it's copyrighted.
There's no fighting in the War Room.
And then recently it was the Harvard High Flex stuff and
the Brady Bunch.
And they come in, and it's the big ideas, but very little a budget or initiative to actually put it in the way it's supposed to be done. But it looked cool, or it's only showcasing their own minds.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, that's no problem. Let's do it.
Yeah, sure. We'll build you that showcase
We've had
space.
the weird one where it's somebody has money and they're like, we got a donor and we're going to do something different and showcase, and we're showcasing the mountain of money, whatever that is. We're going to do it, and we're just dream it up. We want to, for the AV arms race, we want to make sure that we have the best show and tell for when we host the conference next year. They come in here and they can see this showcase room.
And they don't ever, like, you come up with the ideas.
Yeah, they don't even know what they want to do.
Especially like that.
It's a black box mystery.
We're going to do this.
We want to have all the cutting edge.
I have this really awesome idea. Why don't we? This happened to me. It was after Chris has already gone to Oregon State. We talked about your room in the round thing, right?
Showcase.
And And I had a person come up to me, and they had the perfect space to be able to do this in. And they said, we want showcase. We've got a donor, blah, 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 blah. You heard all the right keywords. And I got a great idea. We're going to copy what they did here.
Do a round room.
Everybody's going to do this. And they go, well, that's going to take an architect. Well, yes.
Yeah.
And that's going to, we're going to have like electricity and like extra for the lights and the and I go, yes. And they
you
said,
just wanted expensive paint. My bad.
There it is.
Paint in an application I can run on my
I want
computer.
to just, touch up some things
it's
in a
like-
showcasey way.
They think it's like you're just as easy as put a screen in here and it happens. You're like, no, really, my part's easy.
Yeah, and to take the Oregon State example, it's also going to take instructional designers dedicated to preparing instructors
come on,
to go
that's,
there.
That's thinking too
comes
hard.
later.
Just put 'em
That's
in- put 'em in
thinking
there,
way-
they'll go. They'll be
You
fine.
can't think that hard about
I'm
showcase.
just saying there's
No.
ongoing costs to these type of things that need to be accounted
I
for.
want to have somebody come and say that and then drop the Daddy Warbucks check on there and just say, no, you know what? You dream it, it's happening. But nobody's ever like gone that far for me, and so it's like everybody says showcase, and it ends up being like Justin said. It's just a standard
I got
system.
burned on one of these, and it was an outlier I've never experienced before. It actually happened last year.
Was it Zoom rooms?
No, it actually wasn't. It was
okay.
it was a dean's conference room, showcase space. Kept
What were they
saying
showcasing?
showcase.
What
Why
were they
was it
showcasing? Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I was like,
usually
well,
it's-
describe. I said, okay, well,
Was
let's
that
back
just what
up.
they were calling it?
Yeah, they're just calling it. We want to.
But it's the dean's conference
The
room. Justin.
dean's conference room. We want to like the finest of the fine stuff. We need everything and whatever. All the cool stuff that they say. It all matched up with what Jamie said.
AV delicacy.
So we start doing needs analysis on the AV after they describe the quartz countertops, the expensive floors. Maybe it was marble, the new lighting, all of this, the custom made furniture made out of
It was
wood.
an executive, a true executive
conference room.
level.
Right. And we're hearing all this stuff. We asked about budget. And it didn't seat but 10 to 15 people. And the budget for AV was just a standard conference room. We were negotiating between 10 to 15 grand, kind of just verbally estimating some stuff. It's like, we can squeeze this down to like 8 to 10,000. But if you want a little bit better experience out of it, we can get up to 15 or 20. Well, I don't know about 20, but 15 sounds good. Now, remember, the
This
dean...
is showcase.
Nothing
Yes,
screams
yes, no,
showcase
just
like
like-
by value engineering.
Yeah. So I said, okay. So I had some red flags at that point when we were discussing
Gold-plated
budget.
Alcam.
Now listen to this.
Oh, my God.
So check this out. This is the dean's assistant we're doing needs analysis with because the dean was too busy at the time. Didn't have time. So we send the estimate on through the assistant. The assistant receives it, looks at it. Okay. They have their own internal meeting.
Meeting of assistants.
I get pulled into the office. Why did you over-design this room? Wait, excuse me? We got a complaint from the dean to the lead IT director, and I got pulled in the office. You said, like, what's going on with this room, right? We start diving down into actually what happened. The assistant told the dean nothing that we said. Oh, the IT is really expensive on this one. Now remember, quartz countertops.
Of
That's
course.
all in the budget. That's all
you need
happening.
That. You need that quartz countertop.
It's a showcase.
We had
showcase
to,
space, Justin, come on.
We had to value engineer the equipment because the dean thought that the 65-inch TV and a sound bar is good enough, and he sent us a BOM from Amazon and said, buy this and put this in, and that's that.
Is
So
it still a showcase space?
I have no idea what happened.
Well,
Would they refer to it as a showcase space?
no, probably
Probably
not.
because
so
of the
it was
executive
so
feel.
weird
Yeah.
Yeah.
to actually see them dump that much money into the furniture
Oh, that's not weird. That's normal. Yeah.
for a renovation project. That's usually normal for a capital construction new project. For a renovation project, people usually come to us and like, hey, we're only wanting to replace what we have to, versus dumping $80,000 to $100,000 in finishings for a conference room, and then saying, well, we only have $5,000 that we can spend for technology in this room, but it's a showcase space.
The ratios are all
Who
wrong.
are you showing this to?
well, so when this comes up, do you do you play along with the request of quote showcase?
I do.
Or do you try to keep that excitement going, or do you kind of tailor it away I'm very guilty of going, well, that's just kind of normal.
Yeah, I'm neutral on it, but
on that topic, I try to corral whatever the showcasiness is of it into a standard the best I can, right? And so, because the last thing I want is some rando unicorn space out there that needs its own care and watering and all this, because that's just not sustainable. It's not going to last, because we've all done one or two of those at least once, and then it's something you're never going to want to do again.
Yeah, especially if they're not going to have a dedicated staff member to manage the space, then I need it to fall within our ecosystem.
Right.
Says the man with an award-winning showcase.
Sure,
space.
yeah.
Which has a dedicated staff member to manage the space.
exactly.
But the reason they're coming to you in the first place is we would like you to design a space in which we can call you every time something hiccups or farts or burps or needs any type of care and assistance.
Yeah.
We want you to be able to deal with it. And it's like, do you want to be on the hook dealing with all this boutique rando stuff? It's like, no, you're doing your best to get it into a standard the best you can. And call it a showcase space all day. But my goal is to not give you something as wacky and weird as you may think it may be.
I typically make it like, oh yeah, this is gonna be wonderful, and I maybe got the next size up screen, or I got a named brand speaker just to make them feel better.
It's got a badge on it.
A named brand speaker?
That's the brand. A name.
A named.
Yeah, it'll be on the floor.
name
It's on
AV.
the show floor. Just go look for it.
It probably is an A name.
I'm still intrigued by what Jamie said about his spaces being like an open book and letting to design. Usually when I get that showcase space, it's because they've seen another university or they've talked to a manufacturer who's pushing a product.
A manufacturer.
Just keep this in mind that I said that because that would be really kind of cool and fun, but that will never happen.
When do your clients talk to manufacturers?
When do manufacturers talk to my clients?
How does that happen?
You got your chocolate in my peanut butter.
Wow.
So do you have any quote-unquote showcase spaces at large right now in your stable of stuff that you're looking after? Now, exclude the esports example.
Our
now.
alumni building is like all special showcase, but
is it
it's
just
all,
unique, or is it like true?
It's
Like, would you
very
take somebody
unique.
there and say, "You need to come look at this. It is spectacular."
5 years ago. They haven't
Okay.
updated it, but yes.
I can't say that I have something that, let's differentiate between standard clients and like my peers here, right? No, I don't have anything that I would take all of my peers sitting in, even in this room, and say, look at this. This was the best thing I've ever done. This is showcase. I don't. Most of it is, yawn. It's the same shit, just different applications. But I do know some people, I think the fact that they got something that was a little higher end makes them, it's like when you buy your first brand new car. It could be a Kia, and you're still so proud of this
But
damn
it's
thing.
nice.
Because
That's
it's
a nice
new.
Kia.
Still got that showcase room smell.
There's not even a footprint
That's
on
a
the gas
spray.
pedal. Right, yeah.
But I really
it
I
smell
can't
like?
say that I have one that I mean like the esports thing that Larry had. I mean that's
But at a certain point, things that are just
It's
new.
kinda cool.
That's
Like
just
new
different,
things are,
though.
it's
yes, it's
new
cool. It's
is different than
interesting.
showcase.
new, and stacks of technology are going to be like overwhelmingly like, holy shit.
That's cool.
That's cool. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of bells
But
and
it's
whistles.
not
but-
showcase. I don't know.
Well, I think it
also
is.
see
To
it as-
us, it's
as
not.
What are you bringing students and faculty in and see?
You got to wow them. What's the wow
so
factor? of
the
this?
show,
The wow
right?
is part of it.
Yeah.
It's our alumni
I'm
building.
not saying that his esports thing is the best thing ever, but it's like it's
He
kinda,
won an award,
right now.
goddammit.
That's an award-winning esports space, Jamie.
for that campus. So if you look at the campus
no,
bubble,
for everybody.
No, it was a nationwide
National
search.
best
No.
esports ever.
generic.
And they closed down the
I understand.
But
The
I-
generic technology discussion as far as showcase, what we see every day on our campuses, it's hard for us to say, like even if you have a direct view LED wall, like we've done this
It's just a
before,
display.
it's just
It's
a
a display.
display.
But I
that
think take
terminology is
yourself out of
different
it.
for end users.
But your clients,
Yes.
What's going to wow and make them be like, oh my God, this is unique? And then take it a little step further. Is this something that's going to go and grab somebody to enroll
And
in your
that's the
facility.
thing.
What are you getting?
Like our alumni building has a nice theater we designed surround sound in. That's basic to us. They still think that's showcase, even though we did the alumni building 8 years ago.
It may only
it's
be
still
cool
working
for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
it likely
During
will.
that 2-year time period, there's some white paper written on it. There's some ad. You see it on the billboard for the university as you drive through town. Like, hey, that's my space.
If you have tours of your campus that stop in
does
that
it go through the
space,
alumni building.
do they stop there and say, this is our blah, 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 insert name
We
here
had so
as part of the recruiting fees?
before the alumni building got built, they didn't have anywhere to take people coming into campus. So we built that building specifically for this is where we start our tours, and then we're going to sit in this theater and we're going to watch the promo videos, and we're going to take you around the alumni building, and then we might show you a classroom.
After we hosted AV in the AM on a couple weeks ago, I guess now that this is July, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's like
I was talking with
mid-May,
Kate Atkins, and she had a active learning room with 40 student tables that had the motorized
40.
monitors that raise out of there. That was freaking cool. Like, because she sent me a video of all of them coming up at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a showcase place. I
Yeah.
mean,
Larry, we had a bunch of those at IU that we disabled those, so they always stayed up.
See,
No.
Chris, you just proved my point.
let's go back.
Beauty
to,
is in the eye of the beholder.
In the-
Yes,
That's
in
what
the
it comes
first
down to.
year or two.
But
that
if a new
showcase-
one,
And in a
new
new
monitors,
space-
it's cool. But the old monitors, get that shit out of here.
Well, but that's the point, right? And that
Yeah,
showcase
yeah,
is
it's just new.
It's a 2-year,
Yes.
an 18-month life cycle of showcase.
Yes, it's got to
And
be
then it's
shocking
just another
all.
thing.
It's got to
Just
be.
another.
You walk in, you're like, oh my god, I've never seen this before, right? Like
when you're
that's-
walking students through and all of a sudden everything comes up, it
there's
looks...
a wow factor on that.
There
You're like,
is.
So
Oh
it has to
my
have
God.
motors.
Oh,
for it to-
yeah.
Movement. Okay, movement and overwhelming. That's it's got to have both of those things. So the round room.
So
the only
what
thing it
you're
makes
So if your
saying-
TV spins on the wall,
yes,
Whack-a-mole
Showcase.
is going to be showcase.
yes.
No, that's the instructor hitting something. That's not what we...
Yeah, but actually, if you did a
Whack-a-mole
tour and
control
as part of
system.
that you walk people past a lectern that had a big whack-a-mole thing, everyone would love it.
they would.
It's
real.
going to be project of the year in next year.
It's funny
just
we're
have to build it
talking
first.
about showcase spaces because I do actually have a couple of projects that I would consider to be showcase spaces
Oh, here we
coming up
go.
in the next two years.
Oh, here we go. You bragging?
I'm not bragging
Okay.
because I don't know if either of them is a good idea at this point, but we're going to do them.
That should be your
How
initial.
many,
thought.
how,
You
how
should-
many moving monitors are there?
Okay, but showcase, is it ever a good idea?
It can be.
It can be
yeah.
if you have staff dedicated to managing it.
Or it can be a showcase standard system
I
that
think
everybody
that-
else thinks is showcase,
Yeah.
but it's really
Exactly.
not.
If you can do a standard thing and make it seem like it has
'Cause
a
it's
wow
new.
factor, then awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
one of these spaces is going to be based off the IU Idea Garden, which is a really cool space. I like that space. I don't care what you say, Chris. I like that space. But the thing is, they have a entire ecosystem based around supporting students in that space.
Yeah.
And that's the key point is anything you do is going to be so outside of the ordinary, you've got to prepare for it.
well, you're talking about a showcase space versus a showcase experience.
It's the same. Because it's all about the user experience.
No, it's not.
So
I have a show. We have showcase rooms at alumni building, and they're not a showcase experience, but they look cool. But it's like, what is that?
Okay.
Like that experience is not great, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool."
Is that like
Come on.
the difference between Disney World and Disney Cruise?
like interactive TVs? It's like that's I don't know. It's just stuff.
I have two
And
on
things.
the potential. Well, they're approved moving forward, right?
You have
so
an entire building of them.
see, I don't consider
Yeah, it's a
Link
whole-
as like
Link is
it is because
a-
it has that wow factor.
Okay.
It's on there. I guess if you're creating a matrix of success for showcase, if it has the wow factor, has something nobody's seen before, maybe that is showcase. Link would be that. But things that I recognize as a technology showcase, I have giant video wall stuff because it's gonna have that wow factor. In our Memorial Union, we have 270-inch whatever direct views in there, and that's gonna have a wow factor to it for varying donors and the like for live events. That one, and then I have this weird AR VR mixed reality theater thing.
It's not
which
a thing.
It is.
It's a thing in Oregon.
But that's the thing where it's like it's so new that I'm having a hard time getting my arms around it and designing around it and getting
goggles
people
aren't
there.
that
But
big.
Yeah, how
No.
is that a showcase? Because everybody's just sitting around with goggles.
no, it's not goggles. So, and I think that's what makes it more difficult, right?
Hologram?
You have it's video wall.
cave?
It's production all at the same time. So and it's piped to a supercomputer. We're doing live rendering out to it, and people are interacting with it, and we're recording and delivering that. So that whole experience is going to be something
That sounds terrible.
different that nobody's ever experienced, and we don't even know what it takes to even do it. So we're all, I don't know, we're squirming around this
That's
thing.
a discussion we're going to come back to, and
We
how
will,
you even
we will.
support a space like
So
that.
if you
That's been
don't
the
know how to
question-
design it, how the
that's
hell
been
are
the
you going to
question all along
support
is
it?
everybody recognizes like that's going to take some FTE to make that successful.
No, they'll just call you. It's fine.
Ultimately, yes, it's one phone number is their problem.
Yeah, so some topic later on will be, how do you support these?
But it's going to be on all the tours, right? Research, building, plumbing out data, humans interacting with that data, and producing stuff with it. And that will be showcasey, and people will.
Yes.
Those are the two on my.
See,
on my
that's a
timeline.
perfect example where you could walk into that room and you're like, how the fuck am I going to use this? But everybody's
we just got a
showcasing
rating
it.
warning.
Oh, my bad.
I don't think
Sorry,
we've done
we're
a
at
clean
Infocom.
show in months.
No, it's not
bad.
for kids. It's fine.
This is not family friendly.
No.
Let me ask this question related to Showcase Spaces, and I ask this partially because it's something I'm dealing with as far as inheriting stuff, but also I know this is something that Justin is just now dipping his toe into. But what about Showcase Spaces where they've already or they deliberately hire an outside consultant or firm to start putting that together,
Those
and
are
then
the
it's handed
worst
off
kind.
to you?
Yeah.
And
The showcase space in our consultant is a 98
Showcase
inch.
space as a service.
It's a 98 inch TV. That's
show-
what
it's
Showcase in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's
but is that
Showcase.
though? Is it, I mean, your client, your clients.
The clients are like, holy crap.
See,
I'm like, we
then it
have
is.
one down the road, and
Yeah.
I could show you where this is actually not going to work for this room. No, we have to have the 98 inch.
Yeah.
But your room is
But
like 60 feet
and
long.
that's that definition
how you-
thing.
But how
Gonna-
deep is it?
So Showcase, bad experience.
You want to showcase?
so that's a good. Can a space be a showcase space
Yes.
by some definition, and yet be a bad experience that
Yes.
actually is worse to teach and learn?
We are building a
Absolutely,
whole
yes.
building designed by a consultant called our business college that is going to be exactly that.
The initial impression has very little to do with how the room actually functions.
Yes.
No, it doesn't have to.
exactly.
Did it net revenue?
Did people
Did
go?
people come in like, wow, this is I need to
that's
go here.
cool. They
I'm
have
kinda
money.
Curious on it. You should have a little bitty screen next to your video walls that just perpetually counts up money.
The money, like
This is where it started.
Pay-per-view.
It was a $250,000 video wall, and then the electricity and just watching.
Yeah.
it will be one of the most expensive spaces I've ever worked on. It's
And it will quickly be out of date.
it'll be obsolete as soon as it's
Good
delivered.
time you build
But
it.
it is we're doing the 4K Samsung real deal stuff in there, so it should be nice.
4K. You know,
Whatever.
They're up to 16K now.
Yeah. That's like
But
If you
But
were going to show,
that's for home signage, Chris. That's different.
That's a home digital signage application, Chris.
can you put your calendar on there?
Yeah, I just want to show my calendar and who has all the bedrooms booked.
from the year you were born until now, every
Can you
day.
put a QR code on there?
Exactly.
Or like that scrolling text crap? Right.
Anyway,
In every episode of this show.
Well, and the reason I asked that question is because granted, I inherited an entire building that was under construction and all that. It was well past the date to change anything to some extent. But it had a showcase classroom designed to be a showcase classroom, and including showcase technologies and a manufacturer involved in it early on, not even just like a consultant or an integration firm, but a manufacturer involved who, of course, was open to sell their products to this project that, at the university, even though it was not a good fit and doesn't work the way they say it does.
Bad experience, showcase. Boom.
Well, right.
There
that's
it is.
That's what I'm saying is
the bad experience.
It is-
showcase.
I would
Come on
argue
down.
showcase spaces are normally bad experiences.
Not
No,
always.
not yours.
Not always.
So
I've
what I'm
seen
saying
that
though
a
is this
lot.
is a space that a lot of people would consider a showcase space, but kind of to our discussion, it's a bad experience to start. Yes, Justin. There is not a single piece of technology in that room that I would consider showcasey. There is technology in that room that shouldn't be there. It has fundamental issues with general things like sightline
Keep
and
bringing
audio
it.
reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's a bad space every way, shape, and form.
Exactly.
So but yet to other people, and I have to kind of bite my tongue at times.
Yep.
To other people, it is a showcase space. Now, and Jamie, to your point, It's over a year old. It's been open now for a full year, so I've got like another year before it falls off their radar, and then I can find another one to be the showcase space. But
Showcase
what
space
aggravates
B.
me to no end is when that type of discussion comes up again. Hey, we want another showcase space. They think of that one as an example.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's nothing in there that excites me, interesting me.
Is that in
or
your
is it-
service catalog?
But
Showcase spaces?
Yes, it's once a year we get to do one.
But I think some of that, what makes those dangerous is that when they are not as advertised, and the rumor of it's not usable. So you have the administration saying, or admissions, or somebody saying this is showcase, look how beautiful it is, and then you have the actual end users who say this is garbage.
I can't use it.
And they get to be very gun shy about wanting to try something new.
That's
And
fair.
I'm always really surprised when a manufacturer is involved in the decision making and don't actually pull their saying this is not really what we should be doing here. Thank you for considering. I know they're in business to sell crap, right? But why would you sell your crap to something that just is going to be a
because
black
they
eye?
just
'Cause it's the
they're
money.
want,
They're
they
like,
want
we'll
their
take that
boat.
money. Yeah.
They want that boat and that bonus.
My yacht is wet. I need a new one.
I don't care about the experience. I'm looking ahead.
And you're also assuming that the manufacturers fully understand the educational experience that we're trying to get.
But someone like in the one, we know the one he's talking about, right? And,
Yeah.
And that manufacturer, probably if you went down there and talked to him and gave
they're-
them the exact same thing,
they're
hey,
here-
I got this thing
Yeah.
to do that, and they'd go, oh, no, we're not
That's
your
not
solution.
the right solution for that space.
But then they did it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, but you already did it. So why? Well, that's how we know it sucks.
Maybe we
doesn't
should
work
go
that way.
set them up with those kind of interviews. Be like, hey, would this be a good thing? They're like, no, absolutely
catch
not.
on.
Look at that! You sons of bitches!
Well, the funny thing is, this started, and the reason that, and again, this was like a 7-year design cycle that was designed by delayed by
COVID.
Designed by COVID.
delayed by COVID.
Hey, that could be a thing. COVID's a manufacturer, so.
It could be. I buy their stuff too.
Yeah, I do too.
They make good stuff, so I would fully endorse COVID. Take that for what you will.
Ah.
So anyway, the challenge there is that design cycle started by visiting other schools, and they saw this at another school, and another school had this particular type of system, or not type of manufacturer system, and they said, we want that for our new space because it's a showcase space, we need that. And when I talk to people from that school and explain what we're doing, they're like, yeah, that's not what it does. I was like, yeah, I know that's not what it does. And at the point where we even had faculty, and Jamie, you brought this up about spaces getting that bad reputation as having a bad experience there. We've had faculty who basically said, we need a meeting because this is so problematic. And I kept explaining, that's fine. What you're trying to do is use something that doesn't work the way you want it to do what you want it to do, and explain that. And then we had a meeting with all these faculty, and they all basically said, we just want a straight up normal system that just works like every day because we have a class to teach. And I don't care about these fancy schmancy bells and whistles, which don't seem to work anyway. And the great thing about that was I had been saying that for well over a year, looking just at the design, saying this isn't going to work. And the project champion was there at the table and had to hear from the rest of the faculty at the table that their long vaunted, 8-year-long plan to have this thing was not being appreciated by the people who are using it. So
Right.
I felt heartened by that, but yeah.
Well, I think you have one person's showcase place is another person's normal venue. Like
And
it's not.
Yeah. And the problem with that, though, that's the long play.
Oh yeah, that's like a 7-year discussion.
I know I'm going to fix
I'm
my
gonna build
consultant
this, and
problem.
it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And then you're going to come back to me in 4 years.
So exactly, that's kind of
It's
where
an
we are
investment.
with the College of Business.
It's a
Is
long
we're
con.
okay. Let's just wait this out, and we'll have to deal with it in 5, 6, 7 years, and then we'll, future Justin's problem kind of thing.
So do we have any recommendations for folks who get asked?
I don't know.
I think the best one was Justin saying, take a double step back.
Define the vision for the whole
Right.
room instead of just technology to get a better idea of what's in their head.
And then, and for me, it's also try to maintain their excitement,
Yeah, don't
but
crush it.
tailor to Mark's point, tailor towards the
Get them into a standard if you can.
get them into a standard, but try to maintain their excitement. And maybe all you really have to do is change the name. Let's face it, some people, they see a name like Bose, and they're like, well, that's what well, you know what?
Sure.
Fine. They make some good products. Here, let's put it in.
Their pro line stopped.
Just
my
stick
bad.
with me on the example.
Sorry.
This is what is an
It's
example.
name recognition.
Yeah, right.
Name recognition.
There is something to be said for that. That if somebody wants they recognize, like, say, we'll go home theater again. I've got this big, Pioneer plasma at home.
Yamaha.
And you put that into a space, and they see that nameplate, they feel like they got their money's worth. Even though to us, it's like, well, look, if it's a Pioneer plasma or a Panasonic LCD or a LG OLED, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me.
It's a display.
Because I'm just throwing 720p at it all day long. So. And they still haven't jumbled to that.
But I think similar, Jamie, if you have a space, or especially if a consultant was involved, or any outside folks, if your clients, your staff have to do something different or act different to operate it, it's probably not going to be successful, right? Because they're already trained to use their standard spaces. If there's a proposal in front of you that is going to need them to do something different, tell them. And they'll tell you right away, oh, I don't want to do that. They're always going to want to fall back to their normal operating procedure. Right?
And I would also make sure that if you do something different, you put the infrastructure in there that in 7 years, when your replacement cycle's there, and you don't have the funds.
Only proprietary cabling.
You don't have the funds to replace it with that.
Cat 6, please.
So that actually came up with a project last fall that was about a year ago. That was a showcase space. It's in our new president's office. No, let me rephrase. Our president's new office. They're remodeling a space, and so we had to do some stuff that had an appropriate executive feel and all that. And one of the things that talked about was the the Samsung frame.
Yes.
That has it's got artwork and all that, and he has one at home and he likes it very much. There was 2 problems with it. One, it wasn't
the frame.
Well, it wasn't appropriate to the space because it was the biggest one they make is too small, and he did like hearing that. Hey, you need a bigger display in here than they make, and I had to explain what 50% larger meant, and he was okay, all on board with that. The other thing was,
aren't they all?
It uses proprietary cabling because it has a very slimline, fiber power cable and all that, which again is cool if you're installing that in your living room. But to your point, Larry, it's like, what am I doing in 7 years when I need to do something, and I had to build some sort of goofball little chase to do this anyway? Yeah, so
we've all done that.
It's a challenge.
Like the original DM triple cable thing. That's my showcase.
the D+M
cable disaster was that.
We had a name for that cable.
Yes,
No,
No, we're not going to go there.
We didn't have a name. I thought we did have a name.
Did we bleep that the last time he said it?
Yeah, I think, and we don't have time to edit this.
I don't think
so
Mid Journey's
do
going to like that.
No, I'm not putting that in for AI to show me pictures. So. Well, any last thoughts on showcase spaces and how we deal with them?
I think
Just be cautious.
Be cautious, yeah.
Yeah, they can be fun, but just
Absolutely.
be very smart in how you do
It
it.
may
Justin,
not be a showcase.
I did like your approach of, if they think it's fancy but it's not to you, then just let it roll, because
Just let it ride, man. like shit. Just let it go.
because they'll be happy at the end and it'll work easy for you.
You walk
it's
in and
win-win.
you look
It's
at
win-win.
that 75-inch TV, you're like, dang.
I didn't even know that they make
Dang.
lampless projectors. That is the coolest thing.
This is so cool.
Don't get me started on lamp projectors.
I'm so glad you funded our project
Yes.
for $5,000. This is great.
There you go. All right, well. So proceed with caution, maybe?
Yeah.
Choose them wisely.
Keep support in mind.
Change your needs analysis.
Thanks for putting up with yet another episode of AV SuperFriends On Topic. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.